Welcome to the Independent Joe Show. I am not a motivational speaker, but today I'm going to be so that I can set the stage for what comes next. I'm going to tell you why our country is in decline and what choice you will have to make in 2024. Welcome to this episode of the Independent Joe Show. I'm Joe Sweeney, and I'm running for the U.S. House of Representatives here in California's 10th Congressional District. Not as a Democrat, not as a Republican, as a completely independent candidate. America used to be the country that every other free country aspired to be. We created the American dream. Work hard, even at a blue-collar job, and you would still be able to buy a house with a nice white picket fence, a couple of cars, raise your family, have some pets, take vacations. But that American dream has all but vanished. It's been wiped out by passing decades worth of laws, regulations, and policies that have increased the cost of everything around us more than it has increased our wages. The percentage of our budget now going to necessities like rent or your mortgage, health insurance, food, gas, car insurance, electricity have all increased faster than how much money we earn. To make ends meet, we're having to work longer hours and even taking multiple jobs. The American dream is quickly disappearing for most in my generation, and it's all but been wiped out for the generations that will come after me. And now it's even threatening the generations of my parents and my grandparents because the cost of everything has gone up so much. And we now have a $34 trillion looming debt crisis that's going to explode at some point. The interest payments in 2024 are going to cost us over $1 trillion alone, more than the entire defense budget. How did this happen? Depending on your generation, you may remember that in the 1990s, we actually had a budget surplus. We were on a path to have zero debt by the year 2010. So how did we go from having zero debt in 2010 to having $34 trillion today, while simultaneously creating massive dysfunction in every single one of our government institutions? Virtually every Democrat and Republican representative and senator that have been in Congress over the last 20 years are responsible for it. It should have never happened, and it's time we hold them responsible. And even if they tell you differently to your face, both the Democrats and the Republicans will correct the debt crisis that's going to explode by gutting Social Security and Medicare. These are programs that our parents and grandparents have paid into for their entire lives, and they expected it to be there if they needed it. And it might not be. Think about the trade-off that all of these politicians have deliberately made year over year for the past couple of decades. They decided that at some point in the future, they're going to throw our elderly into poverty so they could fund trillions of dollars worth of wars that have completely destabilized the world and had the opposite impact of making our country safer. They've ruined America's reputation in the world, sent trillions of dollars to dozens of other countries to supposedly build their infrastructures while ignoring our own. And the trillions of dollars that they have spent here on initiatives and social programs have not only not worked, they've made whatever situation they were supposed to help worse. Can you think of any government program lately that has been a great success? Because I can't think of any off the top of my head. Everything the Democrat and Republican two-party system has touched over the last 50 years, they've made worse. The problem is that we Americans have become complacent because we've had it easy, and our material lives have continued to improve with new technologies and gizmos and gadgets, so we put our lives on cruise control. We took the power of the people and we stuck it on a shelf in the back of the closet. And over the years, more and more boxes have been piled in front of it, and we've forgotten it's there, like a box of old Christmas decorations, because we never thought that we would need to use it, because others would take care of the problems. The power of the people has been sitting on a shelf, collecting dust for decades. But our two-party rulers haven't been sitting around. They've been busy at work passing bits of legislation, regulation, and policy every week, every month, and every year, taking money out of your paychecks and moving it into initiatives and programs that enrich themselves, their parties, and their donors. And now what they've been up to all these years is starting to show. But they're hoping that you've forgotten where you put your power. And they love that you spend all of your time watching your favorite sports teams, reality shows, playing video games, scrolling away on all your social apps, watching your polarizing news shows, drinking, eating bad food, getting unhealthier every year, so they can keep you in a cycle where you spend all of your time doing whatever it is you're doing and concentrating only on what's in front of you, because that means that they get to keep doing what they're doing in Washington. But maybe you're starting to wake up in the morning now a bit more unsettled, with the feeling that something's not quite right. You don't know exactly what it is because you've been so busy being entertained by whatever it is you've been entertained by, but you're realizing now that what happens in Washington and in our state capitals matters a whole lot more than you thought. And if we don't figure this out and do something about it now, we're not going to be able to pull our country out of this. If America falls, no one is going to come to our rescue. Will China help? Russia? Europe? Africa? India? The Middle East? We, the people, are the only ones that can rescue our country. Our Constitution, our rights, and our system of government that our founders gave us nearly 250 years ago still works. The only reason it hasn't been working lately is because we, the people, have fallen asleep. The Constitution doesn't begin with we, the Democrats, or we, the Republicans. It begins with we, the people. So maybe you're a high school or college student or a recent graduate and you're worried about how you're going to pay for your college and make progress in your future. Maybe you're in your 30s and the cost of everything has gone up so much that you're wondering if you'll ever be able to afford to have a house or to raise a family and do fun things and take fun vacations like you did when you were a kid. Maybe you're getting closer to retirement and you're worried that you might not be able to save enough to retire, or that the Social Security and Medicare that you've been paying into for your entire life might not be there at all. Maybe you're already retired and you thought that you would be okay, but the cost of everything has gone up so much that now you're not so sure. And you're also worried that if everything is getting so bad for you so quickly, what kind of world are your kids and your grandkids going to have to grow up in? You see, it doesn't matter who you are or where you are in life. You are one of we the people that our founders started the Constitution with, and we have the power to turn things around. Both political parties are afraid that the people will remember that they hold the power, that they'll start getting up off their couches, turning off their televisions, putting down their gaming controllers, closing their social apps and putting their phones aside. And they're terrified that the people are going to walk over to their closets, move those boxes aside, take their power back off the shelf, and dust it off. And that's the choice that you are going to have to make in 2024. Are you going to keep doing whatever it is you've been doing, or are you going to help? And if you decide that you want to help, in the next episode, I will tell you exactly how we can use the law of the power of the people to turn everything around.